What is, in your view, nebag Louis Vuitton? Why did you feel the need to speak out ngayo wena? Sukela usuka khona uchazela abantu ukuthi kukhulunywa ngebag ukuthiwa wayithola. What prompted you to do that?
Honorable Chair and members, I'm glad you're asking me this because this Louis Vuitton has a history. The history is, I think, majority of government officials suffer the same thing. They fall victim of the similar thing. Mkwanazi gets on a trip to France where there's a big exhibition to look at different equipment that we use as a police. We are there for a week. In one of the days, as we are walking and person is tired of being walking in this place every day, I come across a plate. I take this plate, I'm a task force trained person, mine is guns and bullets. So when I take this bulletproof plate, it feels like a paper. I take this thing and I look at what is written on it, what can it stop, what caliber of bullets can it stop. The numbers that are written here, maybe not to believe it. So I say to the person on the desk, I said, this is not true. This plate can stop this caliber. This person says, no, it can. I said, no, demonstrate this. Then he gave my details, said, no, we're going to send an invitation. I fly back to South Africa. We receive an invitation. I put a report to the acting national commissioner at the time, Ms. Patlan, and I said, General Patlan, we went overseas and we saw this. I'm interested to know about this because part of the problem we have in police is the death of police. They are dying because they are not wearing bulletproof vests. Portfolio committee have been parading us almost every single day. Police officers are not wearing these vests because they are heavy, uncomfortable. And here I am seeing something that is weight of a paper, and they say it can stop the same caliber of the weapons that we are protecting our members against. I want to test this. So General Patlan approves that, no, we can go on invitation back to Germany this time, not in France, to where the company is, to go and test. Remember, I'm the task force person, and mine is managing the tactical teams. I'm not a ballistic expert, so I won't be able to go details about what this plate is supposed to have. That's why we have to get forensic people to come with us. A colonel from forensic in Cape Town came with us. So we travel, we go to Germany. In Germany, they take this plate, they put it in microwave with a high temperature degree. They take it after a microwave, they put it in a bucket full of water. They take it from there, they drop heavy object on top of it to mess up with the material of this thing. From there, they put it against the clay, and they ask us what is the speed of the bullet that we use in South Africa. They load up this bullet and they shoot this thing. 7 bullets goes into it, not a single one goes through. 2 AK-47, 2 R5s, pistol, and the likes that goes into this. Nothing passes. And for me, it was a wow. I've never seen this. The clay at the back, it's an indication of the impact for those that knows the gun. You put a clay in the plate. When you shoot, the bullet may not go through, but the impact the trauma is going to cause on the body, you're going to see on the hole that is going to be created on this clay. That size of that hole is going to tell you that the trauma, nonetheless, although the bullet didn't go through, but the trauma can kill a person. So the plate must not be able to allow that trauma. It must resist even that trauma. So this plate passes everything. I still asked the colonel that was with us, I said, why are we using such heavy things and not this? So they asked us, what plate are you using? We said ceramic. And then our colonel says, the reason we're using ceramic plate because in our specs as the police, we have the specification of a bulletproof vest that must stop an armor-piercing bullet. I don't know if you know the difference. The armor-piercing is the one that goes through steel. So the only thing that will stop that bullet is a ceramic plate. And ceramic plates are heavy. That is one. But 2, ceramic plates are easy to break. When you drop it like this, it can crack. So once it cracks, the integrity of it is compromised. This ceramic plate must be evaluated every 5 years. Do we do that in the police? We don't. So we walk around with bulletproof vests that we have been wearing for 10 years, thinking they can still stop a bullet, but we don't know because we're not retesting it. So that was a concern. I come back into South Africa. I speak to my management and I say, and I made a recommendation report, General, I think we need to acquire some of these things and evaluate them with the aim of changing our bulletproof vest in the organization. But he says, no, well, start the process. Now, in starting the process, I'm the one that initiates this. So I engage with General Arlo, who's the head of support at Division HRD, and I say, General, can we have a budget to buy this? Because remember, this is not budgeted for by supply chain. It's an evaluation. We want to evaluate a new product. So General Arlo makes the budget available, said, no, we can only afford so much. And there were about 200 of them. We make an application to the division that is responsible for buying, that is supply chain. We say, we request you to get hold of this. This plate is in Germany. We'll want to bring it here into the country so we can test this. With the procurement rules of South Africa, supply chain should have gone straight to that company and get this thing to come in, but they didn't do that. They went via a local service provider. How did they source the local service provider? I do not know. In my understanding, there was no one who was providing a service of that bulletproof in the country when we met with the company. But later we learned that no, there's a service provider in South Africa that can import this thing. So supply chain goes and buy through that service provider. First batch 200 is delivered as per our request. It comes. So we take these things to different units for testing. It's an evaluation procurement. General Arlo came with a proposal. Arlo, he was working at HRD. He says to me, General, why don't we increase this number of these vests from 200 to 1,000? So that we do the assessment of Pretoria West Academy. There's 2,000 students in that college. We do the full medical assessment. We give 1,000 of them these new plates, new bulletproof. We give the other 1,000 of them the older ones. After 6 months of running with these, we re-evaluate them medically to see the impact on their spinal cord and their bodies and everything else that the ceramic plate that is heavy has on the body versus this light one. So I said, but we're going to need money to do that. He said, no, we have some savings in the budget, we can do that. And I said, okay, so let's make an application. We do. But remember, we don't buy. We apply to supply chain. Supply chain wants to source these things, but obviously, the head of supply chain must engage with the CFO, which is Gerald Skete at the time. So then they decided, two of them said, but we've already bought this thing and it was beyond the money that we're supposed to buy on quotation, we must buy through tender. Because it's for evaluation, we're able to source it. But the second batch is going to be expensive for us to get it directly. Let's go to Treasury and ask for permission. They wrote to National Treasury. They asked for permission. National Treasury said, no, but you've got the 200 to evaluate. The reason you are giving for the evaluation to buying the others, we cannot agree with it. Go on tender if you want to buy the others. So the response come back, and that way it stalled. To my understanding, because the response we got back from supply chain said, no, Treasury didn't approve, so we can't buy. So we live with that. We cannot buy. But I didn't know that the company that was procured from the 200. Supply chain, when they received the second request from us, while they're asking for permission from Treasury, they told the company to bring more. The order is coming. And the company ordered. But when the company ordered, they got the finance, I'm told, from First National Bank. They got the loan and they ordered the staff to come into the country. But when Treasury said no to it, supply chain did not send an order to the service provider. So the service provider suffered because he's got the product into the country, costing millions, and he's got no order. That was his, I think, stupidity that he did. But when there were investigations that were done by IP and many other people, it appears that someone from within the bank, they approached these members and said, this person owes us money. He asked for money because of bulletproof, but he's not paying us. That is what started everything to say, this person received this bulletproof, and the investigation was lodged. I'm told they raided these companies' offices, but they realized actually there was no order from supply chain. So they seized these gadgets, computers, and they did everything. That is on one side. But on the other side, I had asked the SC to help me yesterday. Remember those numbers that I asked if you can open them for me so we can reference to? I don't know if you saved them. I hope you did. What I then discovered, honorable member, is that in me introducing this light vest, I'm making a lot of big business angry because I'm introducing something that does not exist in South Africa. So I'm coming to disrupt their business. And out of curiosity, then I started investigating to say, we are forced to stick with this ceramic plate, even if it doesn't work for us, for all these years. Who are these people we are buying from? Then I saw the list. I think less than 5 companies or maximum who are solely responsible for giving us bulletproof vests since the dawn of democracy to date. So here's me coming up with something that's going to disrupt them. A part of why there is so much attack on me. But fast forward to that initial visit, there's another visit with the National Commissioner to the same exhibit, but we're going to visit the police there, then we pass the same exhibit. When we return from there, because this information now I asked from the National Commission, when we return from there, because there were many of us, one of us was Brigadier Leon Ras from Forensic. She's the one who was always, when I was in the task force, I was receiving a lot of things that she was buying for research that cost millions of rand without tenders. She's the one who was bringing these things. The drones were the first to have drones bought by her. Cost millions without going through tender because she was doing that job at Forensic. She was with us on that second trip. We were about 5 or 6 of us. On our return, allegedly, from what I hear, is that she received a gift from someone. We are there for a week. When we part ways, you go to the hotel, you don't know what the person does. Others go shopping and this and that. Apparently she received a gift of a bag, Louis Vuitton. They say it's a clash bag from what I'm told. She comes back, she declares that. But none of us are declaring anything because you're not getting anything. It is the case based on that to say there were Louis Vuittons that Leon Ras declared, the others didn't declare. So which means, that's why Paulo Salvano will say, I don't know what he did with Louis Vuitton. That means he gave it to his wife. Because he knows that it was a clash bag, it's a woman's bag, that was given to Brigadier Leon Ras. The rest of the men that were there, myself, I know I didn't get anything. So when the story went out, I asked the National Commission, I said, what is the story about this Louis Vuitton? He said, no, they approached him to ask him about it, but there was no Louis Vuitton. To date, nobody has ever come to Mkhwanazi to ask questions about it. But Mkhwanazi is out there in the media. So this goes to show that it was a fight back that I believe come from people that were disturbed on their business. On one side, for honorable members to know, the price of it cannot be the same as the price of a bottle that you buy in South Africa. If this bottle comes from abroad, there's taxes and everything that is going to make the price of this expensive. So it was a given that vest is going to be expensive simply because it comes as a complete unit. I wish I can present it before you so you can compare both. I'll invite the Portfolio Committee of Police to tell us to bring that bulletproof vest, old one, and that we found that site, bring the ballistic report, the member that was there, to show the difference between the two. I'm glad today these companies are starting to make the very same light plate, thanks to us introducing that. But I can say to date, we are still on ceramic.
So I'll be
Today,
wasting
we are still buying from the same companies.
So I'll be wasting my time asking you,